Hey there, everyone. This is Jack. This is actually going to be, I think, almost on time today if I can get it up in the next 10 minutes because it's like 11:50 right now. This week's topic is inspiration. I left it kind of open-ended because I write our topics every week because inspiration is such an open concept for everyone and it means different things for different people. Um, so I tried to keep it more open-ended so everyone could talk about people who inspire them and what they hope to inspire in others. In relation to my own transition, the people who inspire me are I have some really good friends who are in the trans community who I've been working with pretty heavily. One of them is Miss Trans San Diego, Claire, and the other one is another friend of mine whose name is Will Williams. Actually, Will was the friend of mine who initially inspired me to get into activism because I when I first met him, I was just starting my transition. I was just starting to think about feminism. For some reason, I mean, I'd always identified as a feminist. I just never really thought of it, I guess. For some reason. So he allowed me to help, or he helped me to start thinking about gender and being trans in different ways, and how I could help others. I guess other things in my transition that inspire me are seeing friends of mine who I know are happy now that are trans who have hit some of the same roadblocks I have, or road speed bumps, I guess. Like for example, surgery being turned down for a while. I'm very lucky in that it will be covered for me eventually once I figure out my school schedule in relation to scheduling for that. I feel like there was a lot more stuff on my wall before than now. Other people who inspire me in relation to my transition are my very, very good, important friends, the Soska sisters. Jen and Sylvia Soska, I found horror in them when I was at a pretty low point in my life. Right after I started my transition, my fiance left me and moved in with my best friend and took my best friend with them. There was other stuff to that. I have chemical imbalance because of my medications as well that aided in the fall apart. But basically, nothing to do with testosterone though. That was the one part of my life that was healthy and stable. Um, I felt like I had no one, and I feel still for a large part of me that I've done a lot of my transition pretty much alone. I've had supportive friends and I've had great people to talk to, but I've not really had anyone actually supporting me in the actual steps of my transition. That's why the relationships I've had so far have not really worked out, partially. But when I felt like I had no one or very few people who actually understood when I was watching the movie American Mary. When I saw American Mary, it has the quote in it that I now have tattooed on my arm, which is, I don't think it's fair that God gets to decide what we look like on the outside. Do you? Hearing that quote in a movie from people who were not queer identified, as far as I know, who were not trans, who were not within the gender nonconforming community at all, was just really, really affirming to me. It helped me to see that there are people who are not within the community who still care about us and understand our viewpoints and understand what it feels like to be in the wrong body. Um, Even if they aren't feeling that way themselves, they understand that that's how some people feel, especially people who are like us, trans people. Um, these two, they inspire me in relation to my transition because they help me to see that I can, and this relates to the second part of the question was, how do you hope to, or how do you wish to hope to inspire others? They help me to see that just by putting out this positivity, you can affect things. You can affect people. You can help them in my own transition. And then I started talking to them more heavily, and they're incredibly supportive people. Um, Another person I met through them who's another inspiration to me in relation to my transition and how I wish to help others is I met a director named Jessica Cameron. Her film Truth or Dare I actually just saw last night. I went to the screening and it was amazing. And she also helps me in my transition in relation to how I want to help others in that she's dealt with some trans issues in her films, and I had me, Will, Claire, my friend Tyler, and a couple other people. We all went up to see it, and when we saw the movie afterwards, Jessica made a huge point of pointing out to people, or of talking to us about how we felt about how she handled some trans issues. Um, she was very respectful, completely a total sweetheart, and she, in her film, or in one of her films, one of the characters just explains that they are trans, but they're not a freak. No, they're never presented as a freak. They're never presented as they're crazy or as if there's something wrong with them. They're presented as, I was supposed to be this other gender, and that's it. They aren't, they don't focus on it. It's not a huge issue, and because being trans isn't an issue really for a lot of people, for most people. For me, it's not, I guess. But it was nice to see that there are people who care about the community and care about how we feel. And that's part of why, leading into the second part of this, helping to inspire others. Um, I hope to inspire others to be happy and to be safe and stable. And by doing this, is I've tried to present my own transition very, very well to others. I've hit roadblocks, but I don't freak out, and I'm very conscious of that because I want to help show other people that transitioning isn't a bad thing. Um, because when I first started my transition, I didn't really have anyone to go off of or to look at as a role model. I'm trying to present to others that, or inspire them to to take the chance to transition themselves if that's how they feel. Because Will once said to me that that he feels bad for non-trans people because they don't get to explore their identities in the ways that we do. And that was the first time, I guess, where I'd kind of heard being trans presented as super positive thing, like a benefit, not that we're outsiders. Um, and so I hope to inspire others to be true to themselves and to be safe and healthy about being true to themselves, because I've seen people take shortcuts, and I refuse to take them myself because other people need to see that you can do a transition safely, stably, healthily, and happily, and it's going to be a benefit to you in the end. This is running kind of long, so I guess I'll cut it off. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to talk to me. I'll be posting a bunch of my pictures from this weekend later on my own blogs, and I'll put some links on the bottom if you guys have any questions.